We can now all agree that the moral crimes committed here by Ryan Reynolds against Justin Baldoni have amounted to high treason. After having read through the amended lawsuit, Ryan absolutely must go home. And I have got some major scoops. I mean, everybody's talking because the sink is shipping and people want to get onto lifeboats.
What I'm thinking is what Brian Friedman is going to say is, so you were upset that you say your wife was harassed. And he's going to say yes. And he's going to say, yet.
Unaware of anybody, frankly, whose wife has been sexually harassed and has made jokes about that type of situation.
Celebrities avoiding Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds really goes to show that their careers are pretty much done and over.
But funny enough, you can't find the entire video. I only found the clip. So it was very bizarre that clip just was sitting somewhere in the clouds and I couldn't find the full video, but that's what I found.
Says he went in there, Ryan Reynolds starts gushing with praise about Blake Lively's rewrite. He says that meeting happened, and then a few hours later, Taylor Swift waltzes into the room and also gushes with praise over.
Did you know one of Hollywood's most respected directors swore off Ryan Reynolds after their very first collaboration? Or that a former co-star flat out called working with him the worst experience of my career? Over the next 12 minutes, you'll hear the stories insiders don't usually tell. The moments that turned 5 celebrities against the man the public still sees as a lovable prankster. And trust me, the 4th name on this list may leave you speechless.
Familiar, and that Blake Lively would certainly know because she did almost the exact same scene. Yeah.
Wow.
And
it's strikingly similar.
Some of the dance moves, the spitting of her. Now, you could say, look, that's just fan theory, is that Ryan Reynolds saw that scene in It Ends With Us, and it was a trigger, and that he is, because there are some people who feel like he is the one who's driving all of this and telling Blake. I don't think, that seems very unfair to Blake Lively, to me.
That's pretty diabolical.
Who also had an experience, she has said, in her lawsuit that she was sexually harassed.
Right. That theory completely minimizes her feelings here, but...
Right. But some fans who are, of course, going to keep theorizing on this as long as it keeps playing out.
So is the idea that Ryan was jealous and he thought, oh, hey...
Yes. And look, this has been like an ongoing theory that like Ryan Reynolds is the guy that's behind all of this because people feel that Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively were secretly in love while filming this. And if you listen to some of like the voice text that he sent her, it seems like a very, like they had originally like a very intimate conversation and like, you know, just their conversations were just very
him speaking
like
at 2 a.m. Or that's just his voice at 2 a.m.
Yes, but fans are really reading into this and they're like, you know, Ryan is so jealous of this relationship. He's trying to torpedo this. And look, at the end of the day, the scenes do kind of look alike. You know, the interaction, the camera angles, the dancing, but it's just another scene in any other movie.
Remember when Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds lit up the screen in Green Lantern? Well, there's another A-list actress who now refuses to even be in the same room with him. That's right, Sandra Bullock. Once his dazzling co-star in The Proposal, she's reportedly had enough of Hollywood's funny guy. Their rom-com chemistry was undeniable. Fans and critics loved them, and studios were lining up to pair them again. But things unraveled fast. According to industry sources, tension flared during the filming of a pivotal emotional scene. Reynolds allegedly went rogue, tossing in ad-libs that blindsided Bullock, undercutting the moment she'd carefully prepared. She was livid. And what started as a private disagreement blew up when Reynolds later bragged during interviews that his improvisation made the scene a hit, without once crediting Bullock's performance. The rift deepened at the 2013 Met Gala, where witnesses say Reynolds pointedly ignored her. When friends tried corralling them for a photo, he reportedly slipped away, leaving Bullock visibly stung. Since then, she's turned down at least 3 major projects simply because Reynolds was attached, including a potential sequel to The Proposal worth 8 figures. And though she hasn't publicly trashed him, casting insiders confirm her stance is blunt. It's Sandra or Ryan, never both.
Ryan Reynolds starts gushing with praise about Blake Lively's rewrite. He says that meeting happened, and then a few hours later, Taylor Swift waltzes into the room and also gushes with praise over the rewrite of the scene. And he says, and his words in the lawsuit are pretty clear, he says, it was clear to me that I was being pressured to go with Blake Lively's rewrite. He then wrote to Blake Lively and said, listen, that meeting was cool. I liked your pages anyway. You didn't really need to. I liked your pages even before Taylor and Ryan came out to sort of.
Sandra Bullock isn't the only A-lister drawing a hard line with Ryan Reynolds. Behind Deadpool's wisecracking charm lies another Hollywood friendship gone sour. Enter TJ Miller, once Reynolds' sidekick on screen, now his fiercest critic. When Deadpool was in development, Reynolds wasn't satisfied with just starring. He was calling shots across the board, from script tweaks to marketing strategies. He became Deadpool, one crew member admitted. But that control clashed with Miller, who saw his role as Weasel shrinking by the day. Reynolds' constant improvisations gobbled up screen time, sidelining Miller. Things hit boiling point during the film's marketing blitz. Reynolds' own company, Maximum Effort, controlled promotion, and suddenly Miller was a ghost, barely visible in posters or trailers. We've seen texts where Miller confronted Reynolds directly. It's like, I'm not even in this movie anymore. Reynolds offered vague promises of a bigger sequel role, but when the Deadpool 2 script dropped, Miller's character was reduced to a cameo. He stormed Marvel HQ, script in hand, demanding answers in front of stunned execs. The blow-up ended with staff physically separating them. Later, Miller went public. I would never work with him again. He became horrifically mean on set. When the mask came on, it was like dealing with two different people, and neither respected me.
Oh, nice! Nice!
He followed me.
See, that's funny. That's a reveal, because she's like, can we just stop? But then she's in your DMs like, girl, keep it going.
My post, and she's like, oh, your coverage on this is amazing. And I messaged her. She's like, you better keep going. And I'm like,
wow, that's an exclusive. That's hilarious.
I know. And the biggest, like, my favorite, I don't know if you ever watched Rizzoli and Isles.
Yes.
Dr. Isles has a podcast she's starting, and she messaged me. She wants me to come on.
It's wild. Enjoy. Well deserved. Well, I love it. We'll talk more later. I would love, because I figured out where you are, but you're not in LA, because we're filming a lot of people in LA, and I'd love to include you in our doc if you're willing, but we'll talk more about that as we go. But while I have you, we do have some Ryan Reynolds updates I wanted to share. And so rather than just play your video, I thought it'd be fun if we could actually get you on here.
My notebook.
Oh, you got, wow. That is the notebook?
No, this is the book of truth. It's everything. It's
amazing. Amazing. You are doing the work. You are helping us get to the truth. So there's been a few Ryan Reynolds updates. First, before we get to even yours, I'm assuming you saw Matthew Lawrence was calling him out as well. Matthew Lawrence has the Brotherly Love podcast with the Lawrence brothers. Good for them. They're relevant again through this podcast.
Somehow.
Whoa, that's what I think of. Blossom, whoa. Here he was talking about Ryan.
It just missed the mark, but it was a really interesting movie. Great script.
Frankenbold or something was the movie?
The funny part about it is that the production team was having a really hard time with Ryan. And this is young Ryan. He wanted to wear his own clothes. Wait a minute. Wait a second. Are you telling me he was sending texts to the studio?
I've heard that before.
Back in the mid-90s. I wonder where Blake learned it from. I'll never forget.
Allegedly.
I'll never.
All hearsay.
That's what they call that MO.
I was.
Go ahead. Sorry, I meant to pause. What were you saying?
I said that's what they call a method of operation on the criminal shows. That's an MO, if I've ever seen it.
Yes.
I'd grown up in the industry, so I'd known my way around a set. By that point, I was dialed in, right?
You couldn't keep him away from craft service.
He wasn't dialed in.
I'm just kidding.
Okay? And he'd walk out, didn't really, just wanted to kind of do his thing. And the producers were getting really upset because they said, and they even told him, like, Ryan, this is a bad Jim Carrey impersonation. We don't want just not what we hired you to do. We thought you can't impersonate somebody. You got to do your own thing. And he got upset at that. And he was like, I'm doing my thing. And then I was privy to a meeting between the director and this crew had come from, I think they were just nominated for an Oscar. So they were.
Can I just love that we are in the state of the world where actors who don't get as much work can now make a podcast and dole out these old stories of the people that they always wanted to rag on. You go, Matthew Lawrence.
And it's a moneymaker now.
kind of a big deal at that moment. Talk about frustrations on set with actors.
Right.
And I'll never forget being privy to this movie and going, I can't believe this guy. We had so much hope for this guy. He's going nowhere.
That's funny. He's like the biggest.
Literally the
biggest.
You never know in Hollywood.
But here's the difference.
You never know.
So anyway, but he was young. Do you fault him, Ellsrich, on this one? Is this really that? Your story's worse. That's why I started with the less one. What do you think of this?
I wish he would call me and told me this story personally, so I could have released it with my wits, because I would have done numbers with the story. I mean, the comparisons I could have found within the story and what Blake is doing is just amazing to me. I wish everybody would come out the woodworks. I still feel like there are people who are scared to speak their truth, and it's amazing to me. Actually,
it's like Armie Hammer when he was so afraid to talk about Blake Lively clearly firing him.
Oh yeah. And that's not even the worst of Gossip Girl stories that could come out. So she got lucky.
While Miller's feud made headlines, another betrayal ran deeper. Before Deadpool saved his career, Reynolds was floundering. Green Lantern bombed, R.I.P.D. tanked, and studios were losing faith. Then, according to furious insiders, he found his golden ticket by borrowing someone else's vision. At a 2010 industry party, comedian Dane Cook, Reynolds' former waiting co-star, was passionately pitching his pet project, a dark, fourth-wall-breaking superhero satire. Months later, Reynolds was suddenly developing Deadpool with an eerily similar concept. When Cook pressed for acknowledgement, his emails were met with threats from Reynolds' legal team. Sources in comedy circles whisper it's an open secret that Cook's idea got buried so Reynolds could fast-track his own version. Cook later alluded to the ordeal on a podcast. I watched someone take my baby, my creative vision, and build their empire on it. The hardest part, he said, wasn't losing the project. It was smiling through interviews while everyone else called Reynolds a genius.